So, for sake context, this kitchen that I'm doing for the mother-in-law, I've gutted it, I've dot and dabbed it, I've plastered it, and I've been humbled by some plumbers on my YouTube that I didn't lag the pipe when I punched through the wall. So you can hammer me for that.
What?
Going through the wall?
Yeah, so I've got like 9-inch wall. I'd got a radiator in a toilet, and I was like, right, I'm going to piggyback off this, but I don't want to...
Do you mean sleeved it?
Yeah.
Not lagged it, you mean sleeved it?
Sleeved it with pipe lagging.
No, they're talking bollocks. How long have you been a carpenter?
Properly, probably since like 2000 and...
When you say properly?
So I come out of school in the 2008 recession. There was no work. So I was lucky enough by college to be allowed to do like the apprenticeship courses still 1 day a week and do like all 3 years of my carpentry. So I got like the geometry and like roofing, all the different dormers, flat roofs. But yeah, I started off bottom of the barrel, clearing up as a labourer, and have worked my way up the chain. And about 2 or 3 years ago, 2022, October, I went on my own.
Without making you look bad, if you took on a job that's like, you think, shit, that's too much, what have I done?
Tiling.
Did you?
And black grout.
Tiling and black grout.
So what was you...
What colour were the tiles, Charlie?
Grey.
Welcome to another episode of Off the Job. What number is this, Keiran?
I don't know, Robbie, what number is it? 6.
Oh, we've
the
done
third,
the
season.
The 6th of the third season.
We've recorded over 50 episodes.
Have we really? We're getting there, aren't we? We're doing all right, aren't we? Yeah. And on this episode today, we have a special guest.
Always says special.
Charlie Petchey from Carpentry and Construction. Charlie Petchey, Carpentry and Construction on Instagram. There's a reason for that, but we won't go into it. And on YouTube, he's CP Carpentry and Construction. Welcome to the show. One of our
first carpenters on the show.
First carpenter on the show, and
he's
he's also a subscriber. So if you wouldn't mind just pressing the subscribe button, you could find yourself on here like Charlie, because that's what he done. You know what I mean?
Make sure you ring the little bell to stay up to date with
ring the bell. Do we have the bell option? Do we have the ring the bell option?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Everyone does on YouTube.
Do we ring the bell? What's that do then?
That alerts all your subscribers to every upload.
Oh, is it? I'll ring the bell. Go ding, 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 ding. I don't know. It's all new to me, this YouTube malarkey, innit? So, anyway. Oh, my phone's there. Sorry. Very unprofessional.
I just put mine away.
So, Charlie, how long is a piece of string? No, how long have you been a carpenter?
Properly, probably since like 2000 and...
When you say properly?
So I come out of school in the 2008 recession. There was no work. So I was lucky enough by college to be allowed to do like the apprenticeship courses still 1 day a week and do like all 3 years of my carpentry. So I got like the geometry and like roofing, all the different dormers, flat roofs.
Put that mic closer to your face. He'll never go at you for that.
All the different hand-cut roofs and stuff like that without having the apprenticeship, which is a blessing and a curse, because I then later on in life realised all the different things on the job that you learn that I didn't have by getting into construction. But yeah, I started off bottom of the barrel, clearing up as a labourer, and have worked my way up the chain. And about 2 or 3 years ago, 2022, October, I went on my own.
Just after COVID.
Yeah. COVID was a real eye-opener in not really nasty or a nice way, but it was like, I sort of realised it doesn't matter whether I'm protected by being employed or not and self-employed. When there's no work for anyone.
Yeah.
So I thought, do you know what? I'd rather be in control of my own destiny. So I thought, if it fails, I can always go back on the books. I'll give it a go.
Yeah, that's what I say to a lot of people. If you don't try, you don't know. But then if it does fail, you can just go and find another job. I know it's not that easy, but that option is there.
There's always that, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. There's never a right time.
No.
There's never a right time to make that transition. Anything. Like don't matter what it is, whether it be work, whether it be a relationship, whether it be anything, there's never a right time. It's just when you feel in your gut, right, I've got to do it. Don't stall on it. Just do it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I done when I went out on my own, because I could, if we can all like say, but if? But what if this doesn't? What if my auntie was born a bloke? She'd be my uncle. Do you know what I mean? So you just got to go and do it, and that's the advice I would give to people in that position.
So you went, So you went college. You didn't have an apprenticeship there.
No. So I've done all 3 years. You could do your first 2 years up to say level 2 with your carpentry off your own back.
Yeah, because normally the third year you have to have an apprenticeship, isn't there?
So luckily, unluckily, with the 2008 recession and no one having apprenticeships, and them still wanting to run the course, instead of being like 30 apprentices and the tutors having to just do 1 day a week specialised to the apprentices, they let us lot from level 2 that had made good grades in level 2 attend the level 3 because we showed the potential of being good apprentices, even though we wasn't. We went from because back then there was all that education maintenance allowance, so I was actually getting paid to go to college, so that attracted the wrong people being on the course. They were there just to collect money like Monopoly and Pass Go. So
I don't remember that. So I'm similar age to you.
EMA, education and maintenance allowance.
Somebody was collecting your money from
when I pocket money.
Yeah.
What made you get into a trade, and what made you choose carpentry?
Carpentry purely because that's the only thing with design technology DT you was doing at school. I was that kid
you a Christian?
I believe I am christened. Yeah.
Are you a Christian?
Not really.
There's nothing to do with Jesus.
Nah, it's nothing to do with Jesus.
Just because he was a carpenter.
I knew he was going down that route.
Nah, it's nothing to do with that. I just thought, what am I good at? Hell with it. I'm all right at this. Let's take a career.
I'm all right with a bit of wood and a chisel. Let's make something.
What do they teach you in carpentry in college? They go through every aspect.
Yeah, so it's difficult. But if I was to break it down, I don't know what it's like now. It's probably changed slightly. Yeah. But for me, level 1 was like bench joinery, all your different dovetail joints, your half laps, mortise and tenons, and you made a window frame and a bit of a sash window. That was level 1 out of the way. Then level 2 was all about first and second fix, but it wasn't in detail. You got a perfect corner to do a mason's mitre in a kitchen worktop. You got 3 steps of a stairs and about 6 spindles. It's not like a full job where you've got to think, oh, hang on, I'm going out here.
Yeah, it's like any job that you're doing in the trades, you're only going to learn on site. It's like in plumbing, you know, they don't teach you everything. Mind you, they was trying it last week. We had our people one, didn't they? Plumbing people one, and they said they were in colleges and that. And they're going a little bit more in depth with it now to what it was when we was. But everything is like learning on the job, and they'll teach you different techniques in college that you wouldn't use on site. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You give us an example. I'll give you an example of ours. In college, they teach us to use pipe benders in a vice.
Yeah, I was
You'd
literally
never
going to
do
say.
it in your life. You'd never do it on site. You wouldn't do it. So, what would be another carpentry example of that?
Quite literally, they will get 6x2 or something about 45mm thick to represent a door in a vice at the perfect height, in the perfect scenario, at the perfect angle. When realistically, when the door's on its hinges, the second you apply pressure, that's going left or right if you ain't wedged it, or you don't know how to. You shouldn't, but brace it with your foot. That's how we all do it with speed. Or you put a wind bag under it. Yeah. So, scenarios like that. But you can see why they do it with a block of wood and not just burn through £60 worth of door with 30 students.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You're not going to shave down the... You'll have a Wendy house door by the end of it, wouldn't you? I don't been shaved down so many times.
Yeah, maybe they need to replicate real life scenarios rather than perfect classroom scenarios.
I mean, that's good. That's all right, but with a material like wood, it's a bit hard, isn't it? It's all right with you. We've got a recyclable material like copper that they continue to use in colleges and that. But when you're doing stuff like that, so what is so you're saying segments of carpentry? Because when I was a kid and I used to think of being a carpenter, I used to think woodwork, making furniture. Did you ever go down that end?
I think because you do DT and stuff, you're making stuff, isn't you? So
Did you ever think of going down that route, where you're making finished furniture and stuff like that, or can you do that if you
IKEA flat pack?
Yeah. So I can't do finished furniture, like tables, chairs, and stuff like that, because that is proper.
You're not a sculptor of the carpentry world.
No. Right. So my background has been site work. So with the site work, and the company I worked for having a joinery shop, I have a small knowledge, information of like joinery. So with that, the closest I probably get to furniture and joinery is when I do like fitted wardrobes, and I will do that all off my own back, start to finish. The only thing I don't deal with currently, being new to the game, is like pre-finished, like laminated, like melamine chipboard and stuff like that, because you have to have like thousands of pounds worth of tools just to laminate edges, or you have to cut in such a sequence that an edge is never on show and stuff like that. Whereas when I just work with wood, you can finish it how you want, and then the painter comes in behind you.
Yeah.
Would you, Clark, because there's a thing about kitchen fitters, isn't there, and carpenters?
I was going to ask you. Go on.
Go on.
Would you...
Do you fit kitchens?
I'm currently fitting a kitchen for the mother-in-law.
Right.
And
What was you going to ask? Is a kitchen fitter a carpenter?
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, if you started as a carpenter, you could easily do kitchen fitting because it's part of it.
Yeah.
But if you start as a kitchen fitter, you ain't going to have a clue, really, how to fit locks, swing doors, and like margins like that. So it's kind of...
Pitch a roof.
Yeah, you're going to have no idea on
imagine
geometry.
trying to do a roof.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to not have any clue how to read site plans to do joists and set out floors and heights and levels.
What work did you go into first? Was it roofs and stuff, or?
So, literally, I worked for a carpentry, joinery and building company previous to this. So this company was a great company for me to start with. And they caught the market with, they could do the joinery. So where people were waiting with their builds, like 12 weeks for windows to come in, this company could knock them out in-house within 2 weeks. So I've seen that side of joinery, and I've totally lost train of thought where I'm going with this.
So what was what work did you start off doing with that
So I
company?
started off at the bottom of the barrel, labouring with a broom, doing demolition work. First ever job I'd done with the company, I was kangoing lath and plaster off walls.
Nice.
You couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and I was there with a paper mask in 2014.
Yeah.
Lugging gorilla buckets up onto my shoulder, trying to fill the dumper as quick as you possibly could because you wanted to ever go on the dumper and not the other bloke you was labouring with.
Yeah.
Or trying to time it right and stuff like that. That was I can't say too much, I guess, but this job was in Cambridge on one of the colleges, so it was all like nice detailed property, and you was knocking off all the old school like cracked lath and plaster and like wallpaper coming with it. Some sections come in massive lumps, like the twin towers had just fallen down, there was dust all over the hallway, and then other bits were hard as hell. You had to properly kango it off the wall because it had bonded properly. So I started from labouring, then slowly they let me loose with carpentry, starting at the bottom with like skirting. If you get skirting wrong, like it's still expensive.
It's not that easy though, is it, skirting?
It's
Yeah,
not.
just put cork in it.
Yeah, cork it if it's wrong.
Cork it.
Try your best.
Cork
Cork
it,
the
cork
rest.
Yeah,
Cork it all. That's all you got to do, innit? No, I'm terrible at carpentry. I'm a wood butcher, I am.
Yeah, I can tell.
Oh, I'm awful. Don't even like
You
doing...
ain't got the patience, I think that's why.
Can't, ain't, mate. I don't want to do it. Bath panel? Nah. Someone said it the other
We
day.
built this.
Lloyd said the other day, he said on his thing, he said when we like take a bath panel off to like fit taps, he goes, we sometimes tell the client like you want to leave that out just so it airs out and just dries, so you keep an eye on the tap, and put it back at another point in time. We got no intention of coming back put that bath panel on. A lot of people, I've had that before, I put it on my stories like saying, is a bath panel a plumber's job or is it a chippy's job? What would you say?
So I would probably side with you and say carpenter's job, because we fit them so often. The plumber comes in, levels the bath. We would say supply the wood so you can put your bath down on the same side so you're not going through joists. If we're nice, we screw that in place. If we don't know where it's going or like the room's blank, we just leave it to you plumbers to screw down and stuff like that.
There's not many people though that will get a carpenter in to do a bath panel, because what else is a carpenter going to do?
I do.
So as a chippy...
Frame it, panel it.
Yeah.
That's your job.
As a chippy, I've had no end of arguments with plumbers between who's doing the shower screen because no one wants to crack that.
Oh, yeah. No one
Shower
ever wants to do the
screen,
shower screen.
To be fair,
especially on building site.
To be fair, the shower screen really is down to the plumber in it, but we're trying to palm that off.
We just don't want to be drilling in tiles and cracking tiles.
We're
and
trying
tile back.
we're trying to palm that off.
If it's like a cubicle, oh my god, get that away from me. I've done plenty, but if it's just a flat screen, you're like,
we'll
fine.
put that up. That's all right.
Yeah, we'll do them ones. You do the cubicles.
Cubicles are a nightmare, aren't they?
The thing is, they're not. They're just time consuming.
No, they are. I just hate them.
You just have to take your time with it.
They're a pain in the arse. But the
the
instruction's always shit as well. Always shit.
Yeah, but so you started on site. Obviously, on site you learn a lot.
Yeah, quickly.
You learn the majority of. You hang doors. Did you do roofs?
So I'd done all like the door hanging and stuff like that at college to a point that was passable, they say. So like I probably had like a 3 mil gap on my final exam with college.
I was always scared of hanging doors.
But they'll let you loose with like your cheap council £60 door, your 6-panel, your 4-panel moulded, and just check that you're checking for like your lock stop and not just putting hinges on any side and stuff like that.
Did you do roofs and stuff? Because that takes a lot of skill, I think.
So it does and it doesn't. It's understanding geometry more than anything. It's more a bit of maths and
That's the
understanding.
second word of the time he's used that word, isn't it?
Geometry.
He's trying to get it out there.
Hey, do you know how to spell it?
Us carpenters use geometry.
Do we have a special word for plumbing?
Yeah.
The geometry to those 90-degree pipe bends and the twists.
It's called ventilation. I don't know. What is it?
Thinking of a technical word.
Yeah.
We're heating engineers.
Yeah.
Ratio.
Ratios.
But yeah, so what? How long was you working on site for that company?
That company, almost 8 years. I was quite happy on that company, and then near COVID, and then I sort of see the real side of the world. I was quite happy on that company. Always done private work and stuff like that, which kept me happy. You know, I got the best of both worlds. But then once I started to realise what private work was worth, and that you ain't safe wherever you are, whether you're employed or self-employed, your destiny is in your control, it's your hands.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that would have been in your shoes that are sort of worried about taking that jump. Did you struggle with what made you make that jump?
The making of what made me make the jump was seeing how fragile everyone is, with the sense of when Boris came out and said, "You're staying home tomorrow, you're not working." It's as simple as that. And if work dries up, it don't matter whether you're employed or self-employed, because if the employed ain't got no work, the self-employed ain't got no work.
Yeah.
But at least the self-employed could go into something different. I can't think what the word is. Be more diverse. You could be more diverse. So that's where the old construction at the end of carpentry comes in.
I made a mistake, actually. It's not our first carpenter. What's the guy's name with the Claudia?
Oh yeah, Gus.
He's a carpenter,
yeah.
isn't he? A little bit different, but I don't like to see that one.
Yeah, we ain't have a carpenter exclusive.
Yeah, we ain't had an exclusive carpenter. Yeah.
So you say you can. I use the word construction in my Instagram handle because that will get me excuses to go into other trades. What other trades do you delve into, Charlie?
So for sake context, this kitchen that I'm doing for the mother-in-law, I've gutted it, I've dot and dabbed it, I've plastered it, and I've been humbled by some plumbers on my YouTube that I didn't lag the pipe when I punched through the wall. So you can hammer me for that.
What one?
Going through the wall?
Yeah, so I've got like 9-inch wall. I'd got a radiator in a toilet, and I was like, right, I'm going to piggyback off this, but
Do you mean sleeved it?
Yeah.
Not lagged it. You mean sleeved it?
Sleeved it with pipe lagging.
No, they're talking bollocks.
Like Hessian stuff.
Nah. What you got to do is
yeah.
sleeve it with 22mm pipe.
Right.
That's what you do. Don't listen to them.
Going through the wall, you can do that. If it's in floors and stuff, then
if it's in floors and that,
lagging
you
stuff.
can use Hessian lagging in. But if you're passing pipe through a wall, like you're teeing off, you sleeve it with a 22mm pipe.
So I panicked, and I'm a humble man. I held my hands up, and I've, like in a couple of videos that are coming out, I apologised to like the audience, and I'm a bit humbled. Like I perhaps, because you don't know what you don't know, and I'm ambitious, and that's what digs me holes sometimes. But yeah, so I've punched through this wall And then I've quickly, on the back foot, I'm like, what am I going to have to do now? I'm going to have to take the wall off. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do that. And I managed to Google that expanding foam is pretty safe around pipes. It's probably not recommended.
I see. So let me educate you.
Hammer me, teach me.
All you're doing is like basically for pipe movement, you're protecting the pipe.
Right.
Yeah, so you put a sleeve around the pipe. So if you fill that in with concrete or anything, there's no movement on it. But if you put it around a loose, that pipe can still move in the sleeve. Yeah. So it's for wall movement.
Yeah.
It's for nothing else. That's all it is. So you don't need to put in. If you encase it in lagging, you're still going to like move the pipe, innit? So you always
I'm with you.
sleeve it with a.
So they were hammering me because it was when brick or cement or plaster touches the pipe and it rots.
Yeah, I mean, it can do. It's very rare that if it's concrete or blockwork, like you wouldn't put like a pipe in the floor and then concrete over it. You wouldn't do that. You'd cover it in like a pipe lagging of some sort or protect it. Some people protect it with tape. Some people do denso tape. Some people use lagging,
plastic
foam
pipe.
lagging, anything. Do you know what I mean?
Plastic pipe people use.
Plastic pipe. If you don't know, if you're putting plastic pipe in a floor, technically, you're meant to have no joints in that floor, and you're meant to have it sleeved the whole length. So if you've got a point, like a cold point there, that one length of pipe should be dropped in a corrugated sleeve, and that pipe should come up and exit the other end, and all joints done outside the floor. Therefore, if anything goes wrong with the pipe in the floor, you can pull it out.
Yeah.
And you can like re-thread it back in.
But if it's copper, you can't do that.
Copper, you can't do
No,
that.
it's obviously hard.
Yeah. But ducting. They want you to do ducting. Gas regs say that you should put gas pipe in ducting. It should all be ducted in the floor. Do they do it? Do they bollocks?
They say a lot of things, don't
They
they?
put denso tape over it. That's what they do. That's what I've done. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's old school way of doing it. There's so much pipe out there in concrete floors that hasn't rotted out. Yeah. That is still there to this day.
Yeah.
It's like you should at least try to protect it. Yeah. But going through a wall, if you're
belts and braces,
you're passing a pipe through a wall, you're just going to sleeve it. Like you would a gas pipe. Gas pipe, you meant to sleeve in the wall.
And
so
seal
if there
it.
as well, especially if there's a leak, and seal it one end, because if you don't sleeve it and it leaks, then it's going to go up through the cavity. That's why you sleeve gas pipes, isn't it? And then have one end is of the sleeve is filled, and the other end to the outside isn't, because then that can escape.
How did you find? Because obviously you worked at that company how many years?
8 years nearly.
So you went from a labourer
All the way to
an
basically running
apprentice.
jobs.
Because we say it all the time that normally when you're an apprentice somewhere, you're always treated as an apprentice. That transition becoming a carpenter, was it hard to get out the apprentice phase?
It was hard to break, for me, it was hard to break a labourer's phase. So
Yeah, same thing, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not like the biggest person in the world, but I was always the one on the firm that would push 2 barrows, that would lift more than the rest. And they would all say, Charlie, I bet you can't put that on the back of the truck. And there I'd come, and even if it broke me back.
So they played you.
Yeah, they played me well.
It's like you go, go to the fridge and get us that can of drink out. I'll time you. That's what they was doing to you, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of that transition, but it sounded like you did because you was there 8 years.
Yeah. So I'd never really got labelled the apprentice because I turned up with my qualifications and all my own tools, near enough all my own tools, compared to
That's
actual.
unheard of, isn't it?
Yeah, compared to actual apprentices that had no tools, and were still building their toolkit, and obviously were the apprentice and were far younger than me. So I started the game.
Would you say
How old was you?
So I was 21 when I started.
What did you do before that then?
So previously, because of the 2008 recession, I left college. I ended up with an agency as a labourer on site for a year.
You've always been in the construction game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ended up in a factory building roof trusses, which gave me even better knowledge of roofing and stuff like that. Done that for 2.5 years because that was guaranteed, that was employed. Back then at like 18, 19, that's all I wanted was guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And it was easier than busting a gut on site. So, and then from there, a friend recommended me, like, oh, you ought to contact so-and-so. They're looking for people. I reckon you'd get in. So I did. And that's when I joined that firm. And they're a great firm. They're probably one of the best firms around Cambridgeshire. They don't sort of like advertise to Joe Public. They'll have like architects come to them.
Yeah. So it's quite a high-end sort of work then.
Yeah.
At least you
very
weren't
high-end.
sort of like bashing it in.
No. So,
You learned
so
the
when I
right
say
way.
I was on site doing site work, I was doing like between 2 and 4 self builds, but like for a construction company that they would then move on and sell themselves. They owned the land. They were going to own the houses and sell them themselves. So they were quality. So I've actually seen decent quality houses. No 600 centres, 3x2 stud work, no metal track and stud work. I've seen a few of those pocket doors that are pretty useless because they're architecturally becoming a bit of a rage. But everything's been like either traditional block work inside and then dot and dab, or good 4x2 ply plasterboard. So you've got strong fixings for like kitchen areas, or for radiators doing pattress boards, or like just boarding in your stud work.
That's a sticky one on site, isn't it? Trying to get that done for your radiators,
Well, yeah.
pattresses. 'Cause they always leave them out, don't they?
What patches is? What do you mean? What patches is?
Up behind.
What do you mean,
for a
like-
Say you've
radiator.
got your 400 centres stud
Like
work.
ply.
Yeah,
ply,
yeah.
but in between the joists
Yeah.
instead of over.
Yeah, no, yeah, they often forget them, don't they?
What do you feel about qualifications nowadays? Do you think they're sort of less?
So it's good to an employer to say so and so has turned up to a course for the last 3 years, so he's not likely to let me down if I employ him as an apprentice. And this is his pass mark, so I would say he's all right, he's got potential. But
Who do
other
you
than
think
that,
they would take on? Someone with a years of experience and no college, or someone with 3 years college with no experience?
I'd take the experienced person all day long.
Yeah, you would.
That just shows you, doesn't it, about
Yeah.
the college?
Yeah, but you still, it's like anything, innit? You wouldn't. At the end of the day, this is what it's going to be like, right? So if you went to a job which was a driving agency, you wouldn't take the bloke with no license, would you? Even though he's been driving 25 years. Yeah,
Yeah, but that's a bit different. 'Cause
it's
you
not.
need
it's not.
a license.
No,
You don't
yeah,
need a
but
college
that,
course.
but
to
it
do
will. But it will be. That's the
Yeah.
point. That's why they.
Yeah.
That's why they're pushing these college courses. Do you know what I mean? Because it will become one day where you won't be able to pick up a fucking screwdriver or a pen if you're in office space like Robbie without a qualification. That's the way it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see both sides of the argument, but yeah, personally, as a self-employed sole trader, if I'm picking reliability and what's going to be cost-effective for my company, experience is going to outweigh. And experience to me is going to say he's probably got a van and tools.
It's like anything. It's like anything, like gas safe, innit? Right? Who are they going to pick? The guy with the gas safe qualification who can sign it off, yeah? Or are they going to pick the guy who's been doing boilers for years to fit it?
Yeah.
The employees want somebody to sign it off and say that's to do with them. Do you know what I mean? Anything to do with that side of it, and it'll probably come in the side of construction as well. Like especially if there's things like load bearing stuff and all that, that'll all come in. At the moment, you're not being funny, but builders and that are protected by building inspectors, where the building inspector comes around and goes, yep, I just want evidence. But it will come in. It will come in very, very. It's on the way where that side of the building, there'll be something that happens. Don't want to tempt fate, but there'll be something that happens that speeds that process up.
Yeah. Someone will get hurt or injured or worse.
You can just see it. You can see it a mile off. It's going to happen because it's all about regulation and blame.
They need to regulate because that's how they earn the money. If they force people to go college courses, that's... If people didn't need it, then they'll be losing out.
I think it's definitely still important to go college for that experience, because it's politely better they go to college and think, I don't even want to do this, than to come and waste my time or your time.
Yeah.
But I think it'd have to be a bit more than a year. But yeah, if someone's got like 3-5 years experience, it's going to say to me they've got the van, they've got the tools, compared to maybe cheaper labour, but the kid that's just stepped out of college and he's done this, but he's still unsure what he really wants to do with his life. Because there are politely, and it's hard at that age, I guess, to pick what you want to do.
Yeah, no one knows till they actually get into it.
We all want to be on TikTok.
We all want an easy route.
We want to be.
And there's no easy route.
We all want to be YouTubers, Charlie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all want to be like making money this way.
Yeah,
How was
Hang on.
Go on.
You'll be quiet. So, right.
Just because you beat me at an arm wrestle.
Yeah. So, in that transition period, right? So, were your firm that you used to work for, did they give you bits and bobs still?
How do you mean, give me bits and bobs?
Like, if you was a bit like, you don't come straight out and you're like busy, do you? You know, when you come out and go on your own.
No,
That's actually what I was going to go
I
into.
touched base with them. I've left nicely. I still talk to them today because if I did go under, I'd just go
Did
back
they
to
ever
them.
not ring you up and go, "Oh, do you fancy doing a few days' work or whatever?" So it's back to no.
So they were very clear on, and I can understand it because it's a bit of a conflict of interest, and they don't really use many subbies really.
Right.
In fairness to them, so it's a bit of a conflict. You know, I'd be turning up. Not that my van is sign written, but if it was, I'd be advertising me and not them.
Got ya.
Whereas they want you in your uniform, which I can totally understand.
Right.
Yeah. What? So how was the first few months? And did you have work lined up?
No, so I got in contact and kind of offered out by a friend to go contracting for what I thought was better money, but realistically was nowhere near better money because I hadn't experienced what it was going to cost to travel, insure my van, business insurance and stuff
That's
like
what
that.
a lot of people don't realise, do they?
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that. Like when people turn up and they're asking big day rates, it's like, well, hang on, let me break it down to you. I've got to pay for this.
How
this,
long
this,
did it
and
take
this.
for you to notice that?
About a week.
Yeah. So at least you caught on early, because a lot of people get into it and they think they're earning all this money. End of the year, they're like,
Yeah.
all the money's gone on the van, fuel.
Yeah, so I won't. I'll be honest. I'll give you context. So I was doing my little village to the next village, and then getting in their van. So I was doing probably 4 miles a day. So a full tank of fuel in my van, because I had my own van at this point, was costing like a full tank would last me like all month easily. Even if I drove around at the weekend, because I don't like to venture far. To all
You're
of a
down
sudden,
here, ain't you?
yeah.
He's done more diesel coming down here than he ever has.
Definitely. Yeah, to now, like being self-employed, I was doing like 400 to 600 miles a week, travelling like out Peterborough Way and different places, all the way out to Littlebury Green, Essex, like Saffron Walden Way.
Yeah.
And I'd gone from like my alarm clock can go off, grab
When
my
you
food.
do any plumbing around that Essex way, mate, that's my manner.
Yeah. So it hit me very quickly that I was like, what? I'm earning like $7.50 a week, and I'm putting at that point the fuel had hiked, and it was nearly like £2 a litre. It was like £1.80 I was filling up at. Luckily, it was cheaper in Peterborough, so I was getting a bit of a deal. But I was still putting like £160 in my van and burning that once a week. And then my business insurance was like, it's been like between like £400 and £700 because I'd rather be covered than not, even though they'll probably say at the policyholder's discretion you're not covered. I'd just rather have it there than not have it there.
So when you left, you had in your head you're going to do this contracting work.
Yeah.
So
And then,
for that
build
to-
up more money
Yeah.
and have the option of, sorry, mate, I can't come in today. I've got a private job. And then slowly step away. And is what actually happened. My van broke, couldn't get to my contracting, got dropped on my ass from my own decision. I briefly spoke about like stepping away from the contracting, so they were aware I didn't just like never turn up again.
Yeah.
I'm always like trying to be polite and nice and not burn bridges. So my van broke. That was that. I got my last paycheck, and it was like, right, get a van. I'm going to ring this customer and I'm going to do their job. And luckily that was down the road. I could speak to all like my suppliers, could like deliver for me. It's what the one thing I couldn't control that was a bit up in the air for me was like, when can they deliver? When can their suppliers supply them? Because materials were still quite expensive at this point, just out of COVID and stuff. So I had to play around with that. But being the sole trader in the one-man band, I quite enjoyed like, you know what, it ain't been delivered today, I'll have today off. And then that bit me, because I've now learned as soon as I stop as a sole trader, the world doesn't stop, but the money stops flowing. So you have to think of like time off and time down. And I've properly invested in tower scaffold, mixers, whackers, and different things that can earn while I'm not necessarily at work, or while it's raining in the winter and I can't go out on that roof. I can't get an indoor job. So I try and diverse as much as I can, really. So that's why I started the YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not reliant on it, but if it makes something of itself,
Is
happy
it
days.
doing all right at the moment, is it?
It had a little success back in June or start of July. I went from like 160 subs to like 600 odd now.
Right.
And then I made a boo-boo with this pipe, and I've had a bit of a hammering. But
No,
You're gonna get negative.
that can be a positive.
yeah,
Because if you get like content like
So
engagement that way, where you do something wrong, that's getting. You just got to look at it as a
Did
positive.
you panic though when you see the comments?
yeah, I do. I'm an honest man, and I won't like suddenly delete it or like remove it. I can kind of define between like trolls. I've done like a YouTube live and people are trying to speak in Greek to me. I can't even read it, mate, so I don't know why you're bothering. And then people asking silly questions, so I just give a sarcastic answer. And then whoever's not trolling me laughs, and it gets me more views. So
I won't worry about it.
yeah.
So many pipes pass through walls.
So sorry, going back to that when your van broke the first customer, how did you build up work then?
So I had, from being on the books, I had like weekend work stacked up, and that's kind of what motivated me. I was like, it's February and I'm booked till August. I'm working every weekend. What am I doing? So that's what's triggered as I went back from COVID, because I went back from COVID and I was like, what if I could make it on my own? I've had all this experience through COVID, because they were like, you can't work. Oh, you should, if you're able to, get in a second job. So I went and worked with a farmer and done a bit of gardening. I
I was going to say, you look a bit like a farmer, innit?
You right, boy.
You sound a little bit like a farmer, right? Yeah, doesn't he? Looks a little bit like, if you stuck a bit of like straw in his mouth,
See, what-
like, it'd be like a proper
What
farmer,
did
wouldn't
you
it?
start doing? Sorry.
So I was working for a farmer and I was planting trees, and I couldn't follow a string line. Didn't last very long. It's the hedge.
His trees were all over the shop.
That was when you
postman
went off
could
on
get
your
through.
own.
No, so this was COVID. So this
Okay,
the COVID
yeah.
bit gave me a little tiptoe into self-employment. And I'm like, well, I didn't have anything last week and I've managed to find this. Maybe I can make it on my own. And then I sort of looked at like what I was doing. I was like, well, I'm letting go of, humbly, politely, this little,
Yeah.
and I'm earning this much. I've earned like 3 weeks' wage. Why am I worrying? And so then when I went back, I spoke to all the subbies and I was like, you roofers, like you plasterers, you plumbers, you electricians, do you ever like worry about not having work tomorrow? And every single one of them, their only regret was they didn't do it sooner.
You said earlier about being booked up till August. Depending what sort of jobs you do in plumbing, if you've done bathrooms and stuff, you can book up. But
Yeah, exactly.
general plumbing, you can't really book that far in advance because
2
people want you
weeks.
there now.
Yeah.
2
They
weeks.
ain't going to wait till
No.
August.
2 weeks turnaround. I love it when
Yeah.
I walk into a plumber's merchants and the plumber's go, oh, I've got 6 months worth of work. And I think to myself,
But how?
no, you ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You-
depends-
you have
if
to
you're
take
doing
that.
like building work like on site, I suppose, you
Yeah.
can say that. But
So if I gave you some context of like, I could, depending on how hard I work, how many hours I work, and how quickly I fit the next job into organising materials and stuff like that, I could be sat here today. I could be booked till like April next year if I took like 2 or 3 days to like organise the next job and plan my.
I always say though, it's like you can say that with like bigger jobs. Like say if you got like a number of bathrooms, then
Yeah.
a plumber will be booked up like maybe 5 or 6 months or whatever if they've got a number of them sort of projects on.
But,
But
equally,
in any one of them projects, that can just go.
yeah, literally,
They
the
can
wind can
drop
change.
They can tell you that, yeah, we'll have it done. 4 weeks down the line, they say, sorry, we're going to have to pull out this bathroom now. We found somebody cheaper, or we just haven't got the money
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah.
And then you've got 4 or 5 weeks.
You've got to
You've got
find work.
nothing.
Yeah. So I'm lucky in a sense of like I say, it's not guaranteed. Like I could be if I wanted to be. Yeah, anyone could cancel me at any time. So I have like the nicest way I can deal with it is a whiteboard, and whoever's at the top of the whiteboard gets dealt with next. And if you, because people do, they're like, oh, sorry, we've had to get someone else in. And equally, I've texted people and they haven't let me know, and they're like, oh, so and so done that last month, and I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks for letting me know.
and if it's a
you
big
get that.
job,
But equally, I
if
understand.
it's a big job as well, so if it was like a 2-week job and then they cancel
Yeah.
like last minute, you got to try and fill them 2 weeks
yeah.
then.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So like I take it with a pinch of salt. I think to me, for what we do, reactive work, if you build up a clientele of reactive work or a reputation of reactive work where it's in and out, in and out, in and out, breakdowns, this, that and the other, you might fit the odd boiler in and out. That's the best work.
Definitely.
That's the best work for us because planning, that's why I didn't want to do bathrooms anymore. The organisation of bathrooms was a nightmare for a start.
Yeah.
If you get a couple of builders under your belt as well, get a couple of builders under your belt.
You've got to find a carpenter to do the bath panel.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
The shell screens.
That's why your friends. That's why you builders, as much as like they do piece us off a bit. It is good to have a builder on your books because just say you do get the odd job that you fancy, right? Somebody does ask you to do a bathroom, you think to yourself, do you know what? I could actually take that on because I know a couple of guys who will help us out on that. Bathrooms as a whole, you've got to be kitted out for that.
Yeah.
And most people want that guy who can deliver the whole job.
Yeah.
So
Overnight.
Everything. Yeah. They want it done, overnight or within a week. And that just wasn't a bit of me, that.
No, it's too much stress.
No.
Without making you look bad, if you took on a job that's like, you think, shit, that's too much, what have I done?
Tiling.
Did you?
And black grout.
Tiling and black grout.
So what was you...
What colour were the tiles, Charlie?
Grey.
So what, it was just a tiling job you took on?
No, so it was a bit of a...
He done the bathroom as well.
No, I didn't actually. No, I didn't. I was trying to think what I did do on that job. This customer may see this, and we're friends. I'm still friends with them today. They weren't impressed with it because I'd only done a little bit of tiling, but I'm the man that buys all the tools for the job. I don't want to rent.
Yeah.
I'd rather own, and then I've got it for future because I do anything on my own house, as builders and carpenters do.
Can you send some pictures in? I'd see this tiling.
I might be able to pull some up, and I will humbly embarrass myself. Yeah, I've learned from that. I ain't touching tiling or grouting again.
Yeah. It's hard, man. I've done it a couple of times. First time I said I've never done it again, but it's always been in my own.
Yeah.
I might have done it once for someone's bathroom, but
I've never done it for anyone.
Again, that's a skill that takes patience.
Only my mum,
Definitely.
like I said earlier in one of our earlier episodes. I mean, don't matter because she's blind. So
tiling is definitely an underrated trade. People are like, what? You want that much for tiling?
It's one of them trades where it's a finishing trade,
Yeah.
obviously. So that is what the customer is going to notice.
The most.
The customer is going to notice the tiling. And like, albeit, even if the customer don't notice it, you will.
Yeah.
You will notice where it went wrong, and you don't draw attention to it.
It's stressful about it. I'm just thinking about it now. It's stressful.
I just don't
it
know.
all starts dry, especially when you're grouting as well.
I don't know why people would really want to do
it's
it.
Stressful.
So, wasn't the customer's fault, wasn't my fault. But he'd said to me, let's try this jasmine. And if we don't like it, we'll do black. And I thought, I don't really want to be changing this. You don't want to be changing your mind. Nah, you don't want black. You definitely don't want black. Black's hard, mate. I reckon this will be all right. So I'd done it. So I'd half started a wall and then gone home that night, amateurly, only done half a wall to see what he thought of it. And he changed his mind and said, no, let's rake this out. I'm going to go for the other colour, black. And I was like...
You had to take the grout out.
So, yeah. He weren't sure if he wanted jasmine or black with his grey tiles. I was like, you don't want black. You definitely don't want black.
So why didn't you just do it on a small corner first?
Because I was like, let's put this jasmine in first, see what you think of it.
So you grouted the whole
You
thing?
did the whole lot.
No, I'd done half the wall, so
okay.
you could see it. Like a decent amount, so you
Yeah.
weren't just like, that's 100 square centimetres. And yeah, overnight he changed his mind, so he was like, let's rake it out.
What colour is jasmine?
It's like a brownie,
It's like an
beigey.
Bright beigey off-white, so that if you had it on your floor,
I don't
the
think that
white
would
grout
go
don't go brown when you walk over it.
Right.
I don't think that'd go with grey, would it though, jasmine?
I don't know if it was actually named jasmine, but it was some sort of like off-white.
Yeah. So you'd never touch
Cream.
tiling again?
No.
What about a carpentry
But
job?
then you went black. Hang on.
Black is where it went south.
Yeah. Let's continue this. Let's not. What happened with the black grout?
So I was like, right, I've got to be careful here. So I said to my customer, like, mate, do you understand how much work is involved? Like, look, okay, cool. We had these options. We'll be straight with each other. We can rake it out. I can come back. But I want to warn you, I'm fairly skilled with holding my multi-tool, but I cannot promise you if this touches that tile, it won't, because they weren't like rounded edges. They were the tiles with like square, like serrated edges, and I was like, I cannot for the life of me promise you I won't touch one. I'll do my absolute best, and you know what, I've done it fairly well. I didn't really touch a single one of them, but like I was like, I'm going to tell you now before I do it and then drop you in it. Here's your warning, this could go south. So I raked it all out, and then I'd never touched black grout. I'd only ever done like dark grey, like in my own bathroom and stuff like this, mixing up the black, putting it on. It was round the bath, so round the bath wasn't too bad. And putting it in, I'm pretty neat. I'd got all like a grouting tool and then a sponge and everything, and I was trying to just put it in the joints. But then as I was like slurring it left and right, it was dropping on the floor, weren't it, and going everywhere. So the floor looked like a bloodbath. It was black everywhere, and then you're trying to like mop it up, and then it gets worse. And then I was like, "Where's that shower head?" Hosing this whole thing down, and then it needed topping up, and I was like, "Where's that Sharpie?"
So, what was the finish? Was it adequate?
Acceptable. I'd have it in my house, but like I know, like you just said, you know where you've gone wrong, and there was bits that I had to sort of like chisel away because I tried to wash it off and out as best because I hadn't given myself
To chisel away.
I hadn't given myself an easy job. I'd got LED strip in like an alcove in like a cupboard, so I'd tried to like, instead of siliconing, which is what I would do in future, I tried to make it all nice and matchy and grout all my corners in my alcove, and obviously it balled up, didn't it, like a tennis ball in the corner.
Oh.
I was trying to pick it with my hands, and then my hands were black. It was an absolute nightmare. Yeah,
It's like
absolute
when you do
nightmare.
silicone, it's all over your hands, and
No, that tiling.
it stresses me out thinking about it.
So I would never touch tiling for a customer ever again,
Nah.
unless it was like some simple brick bond, stretcher bond, and white
I like
grout
the way he
white
says
tiles around
that.
the kitchen.
Simple brick.
So because you got construction name, what other... Do you mainly do carpentry, or is it other?
Mate, I only price and want to do carpentry, but like
You done brickwork.
I could lay to a line. I can say this to people. I could lay to a line.
You
but
can put trees to a
Yeah,
line.
that's what I was thinking.
What chance you got with bricks?
But like, I wouldn't want to build corners. That's where brickies earn their money in building the corners up right. Because if you start right, you end right, and that only takes one brick to throw your level out, and then next thing you know, it's the Tower of Pisa.
Only takes one tile to put your tiles out, doesn't it?
Do you think there's ever like you don't get many perfect tilers, do you? You could always find something.
Yeah,
It's very hard to get it right because obviously the tiles are not always straight; they're bent, and
yeah.
it's very hard.
Friend
to
of the
get
show,
done.
Kenny Wood. He'd
It's
do it.
very hit and miss whether you buy cheap tiles and they're all right to cut, or whether you buy expensive tiles and they're nice to cut. It's real hit and miss, isn't it?
What about electrics?
So I understand a lot about electrics, but I can't say I understand a lot about electrics. I could probably, if I was given some guidance, pass an AM2. I can talk a little bit about...
What's an AM2?
AM2 is like
It's the
saying you're
test
qualified.
it's like gas safe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's like doing your gas.
There's a few other like little certificates I'd need to build up to my AM2, but yeah, I can understand the red, the black.
No, they're the
brown,
wrong
the blue.
colours.
So they're the old colours.
Yeah.
And then I would go around and sleeve them to the new colours.
Yeah.
I could do 3-way lighting, 2-way switches. I understand. I have to sometimes Google and check, or I text a friend who's an electrician, because I will humbly always check before I do something, and it's dangerous, and I am going to court. But a lot of sparks will get involved in the comments and hammer me for this, that I get involved with that. But politely, I have to understand it in a sense of, if customer has had this kitchen layout and now she wants or he wants this layout, somewhere that's got to change. And without having a Sparky on standby, or booking the Sparky in and giving the Sparky time in a week, an X amount of to do it, I end up waiting around, and I can't just like disappear and start an extension for a week.
Yeah.
So I understand it from that, and that's the same with the plumbing. I can look at stuff, touch it. Yeah, that one's hot. That one's cold.
This is a question. Have you ever moved a gas pipe for a hob doing a kitchen?
Oh, he's that.
I don't know if he'd want to say it though, if he has.
I haven't. Well, it depends what you call moved. I've gone from gas to induction in my own property. It's definitely my own property.
So what? You just cap the gas off?
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd you test that then?
U-gauge.
Did you? What to?
Just made sure it didn't move.
From what?
Where I put it on.
What number?
It was somewhere in the middle.
Smash him. Smash him.
You can hammer me. You can it's my own house. I cried and cried and cried like, guys, I'm here with my units. I gave them plenty of warning, like, next week I'm doing my kitchen. Yeah, they weren't interested in coming capping my gas. So I texted another friend that is gas safe, and he said what to do. So here's what I'd done. I undone the meter at the front of the house, opened all of that up, as well as isolated, obviously. Didn't just undo it, flood the neighbourhood. Isolated the boiler, waited 10 minutes, cut my pipe, let that sit for 10 minutes or so.
Cat.
Just to like make sure there's nothing in there. And I was like, there's no way I'm doing that, mate. There's no way I'm doing that. And he went, just wave your torch in front of the pipe, and if there is anything in there, you'll hear the... And I was like, I'm going to blow myself up, mate. There's no way I'm waving a naked flame in front of a gas pipe. And he went, honestly, just do it. And I was like, here's my last words. Nothing. Because it had been sat for 10 minutes, it had cleared. And he was like, right, flux it up and flood it.
Flood it?
Just make sure it's never...
Solder.
Fill it up with solder.
Filled it with solder?
No. Obviously, I had a stop end.
I was going to say, you put
said
solder...
flood it, like put loads of solder.
I thought you just like lumped it in the pipe.
Do you reckon anyone's done that, actually?
Probably.
Ain't got a cap on their van, they just fill it up with
Just fill it
solder.
up with solder, brush it over, bit of lead.
We should try that, you know, for a laugh.
He solder capped it. He done it right then.
Yeah.
Was it in an inaccessible place?
I've left enough, so if you wanted to use it again, you could get it back.
Why didn't you put a compression cap on it?
I just thought I don't ever want this to leak. I'm never going to need it again. I'm going to live here for however many years. The market's moving to induction hobs. I'll leave you enough if you ever wanted to tap back into it. But I am 15mm stop end.
So just put a compression
Done it the
cap
right
on
way.
it. That's the right way you can compression cap
Yeah,
it.
there's no right or wrong way, is there?
Yeah.
Unless you use a push
I
fit
had-
cap.
Personally, I would have left it. Was there a valve behind it, like a 15mm butterfly valve?
There was, but it was in a bad place. So is what if you imagine it comes up the wall 600-800 and then goes along to your hob and then out the wall, and you connect to like your butterfly valve. I had in my head like, I could put a ball valve on there, I could stop end it and all this.
Ball valve.
Lever valve, lever ball valve, whatever you call them. I ain't got the right terminology because I don't do it enough, have I?
Yeah. What's your plans with the YouTube? What sort of content are you putting on there? Not
Just
how
my
to-
day-to-day work. So I have put on my YouTube, drilling through the ring on the heating circuit twice.
Illegal gas cap off in my own house.
I weren't doing YouTube back then. I tried to go through some of my Instagram stories. You'd have absolutely had a field day on me on some of my earlier jobs. So I learnt to solder in my own house. You can have a free laugh on me here. I learnt to solder in my own house. I learned how not to do up compression fittings under compression, under tension. I started with my downstairs toilet under the stairs, and of course in the U-bend there was water, and I knew nothing about wet vacs. I was like trying to blow it out the way. I was putting bread down the end of it.
What? In the what?
I was trying to put...
What? In the what? What? In the U-bend? What?
So you know when you get drops and then you come back up for your taps?
Oh, right, yeah.
So I'd got the drop in the wall out of the plasterboard, and then I was coming up the back from like my downstairs
I
sink.
thought he was talking about the waste pipe from it, yeah.
What, you was trying to get the water out?
So I didn't
so
know
you
about
could-
getting the water out. So there I was, and it's going...
Was you trying to solder?
Yeah. It's spitting on me. There I am. Like,
And then he read about bread.
yeah. And then
How did you try and get the water out?
So in the end, I thought, I've had enough. I smashed a hole in the wall, cut the drop out, dropped a load of water, and then I thought I'll start fresh. And I started this end, and then done my last fitting last. Process of elimination.
Did you actually put bread down?
Did you
though,
say
did
you
you?
used bread?
So whilst that
You
was
Googled
boiling
it.
over,
While it was boiling over, yeah.
while that was boiling over, I thought, right, okay, I've now learned I can't have water in there. So why is it still building up? And I didn't understand because it was my first time ever. So all I've ever seen on a building site is, and I've had a little go, but it's obviously been on fresh plumbing.
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
no water in the system. So I've learned to flux up, put your whatever you're on, clean your joint before you solder, so you get a nice neat joint. Warm it up, wait for it to turn blue or a little bubble. You heat one side and then touch the back with your solder. Let it cool down.
Turn blue?
Well, you
Never
don't want
heard
it.
that
You
one.
don't want it. I don't mean the pipe turn blue. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, I'll be there with it glowing.
I won't run like that, mate.
No, I just mean with your flux, you get like a little bubble and it just
Yeah.
turns a little bit, doesn't it? Just keep touching. You heat from one side. 15, you can obviously get away with heating one side. 22, you've got to move around a bit. And I've never touched anything bigger than 22. I owned a Rems mini press because the downstairs toilet stressed me out that much. And this is how much I know, or how little I know about plumbing. So there with a beautiful new Rems press. Here's my jaws. And I was like, what? How do... Google. Oh, I didn't buy mini jaws. I brought normal jaws for a Rems mini press. So I never even got to use my press gun.
Yeah.
Because I thought that just for the sake of buying a Rems press gun.
I was going to buy a £1,500 press gun for one 15mm pipe.
Because it's got water in it.
Here he is.
That'll save time and money.
Yeah.
But I want to know what you did with the bread.
So I got my bit of Hovies out, was plugging that down there. I was like, you won't boil over. And then, I fluxed up, cleaned up and started again. I was like, new joint. Right, here we go. And it started to go. I got one done and then I went to do the next bit and obviously it boiled over again. And I was like,
I've never heard of that, putting bread down the pipe.
That you do that on heating systems. That's
Really?
for
to like bung it.
that's for heating systems only.
How would you get the bread out?
I just turned the tap on.
Your taps would be blocked.
Yeah, it'd block your taps, wouldn't
Right.
it, for one. But no, they used to do that in the old days. So if they had water in the pipe, they'd put bread down the pipe and that would bung it up with water.
Like old stale bread's better.
But it would break down better in a heating system. Remember, you had like 22mm cast iron heat exchangers back then. So a bit of bread would just break down in the system. That's why they did it. I wouldn't recommend it on a new system.
Yeah, don't show that on YouTube.
No.
But
yeah,
do
that's-
show it, though, because people go
Yeah.
mental.
You should show like how to learn different
I'm gonna,
trades.
do you know what
So
I'm going to do? I've
so
just come up with it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it, one of my new ones. I'm going to do that.
What?
I've been looking for a new tutorial. I did tutorials. I'm going to do that. Bread. I'm going to put a whole load of bread.
Just back a whole load.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep putting it in. That will stop the water. Just keep loading it.
Are you going to fill it up with water?
Yeah, I'll just load it up. Load it up. Keep putting that in.
Just get your compression
Loads. And give us that French rolls. French bread. Put that in there.
Bit of ham,
Now that
bit of
will
cheese.
stop your water.
It's interesting.
None of this pipe freezing.
Nah, bollocks of that.
Get a loaf of bread.
Do you know how much pipe freezing kits are? If you want to buy one.
Expensive.
It's so expensive.
I've hired one.
They're about 30 quid a can now with a jacket. It's unbelievable.
Do you trust them?
Yeah. Oh, so funny, right? Mongo once, right? When he was on his job, he was in his social housing job, right? And sometimes where you couldn't get it under the stopcock, from there we used to have to change stopcocks. So stopcock might be off the floor by that amount. Yeah, you'd have to change it, but you couldn't turn it off in the road. So what we'd do, we'd cut half the jacket down and put half a jacket on, right? And it worked. If you was quick, it did work. I've walked into this job once, right? It must have been that far off the floor, right? He's cut the jacket down to about that much, right? And he's done it, and it froze as I walked in. He's phoned me up. He's gone, Pete, I need you round. And I've gone round, right, there's still water in this flat. He's got his thumb over it because he's cut the stuff cock off. And I said, you thought that much was going to freeze? When it froze for a minute, I went, fuck off, you div. And it was just everywhere. And I ended up, I think in the end, I can't remember what I done. Can't remember if I got a live or if I got a stopcock and managed to do it, or whether or not I managed to shut it off in the road while he was holding it. But I had to dig it out. I think what it was, we had to dig them out.
Did you say he was at the shop?
What?
I thought you said he went to the shop because I had a similar thing. I was doing a bathroom. The guy I was doing it for literally just went to the shop. I can't remember what happened. Like a cap come off the end of the pipe, so the water was just pissing out in this bathroom. Had my thumb over it. I was like, this is hurting my thumb. Like I can't hold it any longer. So I had to run to the van and back. I just couldn't hold it. I run to the van to get a cap, come back and put the cap over it while the water was pushing out.
The old woman comes walking by.
Thinking her shower's on.
What's going on here, dear?
But I was swapping hands, like my palm over
It's
the other
horrible.
hand.
Then you get a ring mark in your thumb.
was like-
Were you pressing on it so
I was
hard?
like, sod this, I run into the van back.
Imagine him running to the van, then realising he's left his keys in there. Running back. Then running back to the van, then not being able to find the cap in the van.
Meanwhile, the water's just running down the
Driving down
stairs.
Screwfix, get a cap.
But I literally just walked to the shop. Yeah, you get yourself in some funny situations with plumbing.
So, with that in mind, my worst one that I've humbly learnt not to do.
Very humble you are, Charlie, aren't you?
I've learned a lot from my own mistakes, and I wanted to protect my boiler. I thought, that's old. It's got no Magna Clean. I'll put a Magna Clean in.
Oh, he's interfered with it.
So I've identified my return and everything, my flow, my return, and made sure, nearly.
I love this.
I checked with a plumber because I was
I
like,
love it.
there's 3 22mm pipes, and I know one of them is gas. There I am, like. So I did check with a plumber, and he was like, no, you'll be fine. Yeah, that's the return. And I turned the boiler on. I was like, yeah, no, these two are hot. It's definitely one of these two. So I identified the return, and
It does say underneath it.
On the boiler, yeah.
so my boiler is an old Potterton H10 Maxi or something, and it's like on a 6-inch step, and it's got a 75-litre tank.
Oh
And
yeah,
all
well,
the
that's a Pro Max. Not Pro. Is it a Pro Max?
What do they call
Something,
No,
that's something Max. Power Max.
Power Max.
Yeah, so I've got one of them, and it's ancient, and I'm like nursing it, so I don't have to buy a Wiesmann or something. And I thought I'm going to protect it. I'll put this.
Oh, it was your house.
It's my house.
Oh,
Yeah.
right,
This is why I've learned.
Thankfully, for a minute, I thought you was working in a customer's house.
No.
You know what that needs? That needs a Magna Clean. That does.
No, I'd never do anything like that for customers, for the public, because I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So this is my own house. I wanted to protect the boiler, so I thought I'd get a decent. So I got all like the Wi-Fi Magna Clean, which notifies your plumber.
So shit that is. I mean, Magna Clean, I like Magna Cleans, but I bought one of them once and I just stuck it on and I did never done
the
the app
Wi-Fi at
or
all.
anything. Just
They are good. They'll let you know.
nah, can't be bothered with all that malarkey. It's just another.
It's even
app
got a
on the
little
phone.
LED. It tells me when it's
Just
full.
have a clear one. Just have a clear one, right? And then say to the customer,
Yeah,
see
why
when that
haven't
gets
they
black,
made clear ones?
when they're doing one now, I think, and when that's clear, when that's full up, give me a
Dirty.
shout. You know what I mean?
So there I was. I identified the return. I put it on the return side. I had to adapt a load of plumbing. I'd done some funky plumbing because it was so low to the floor. I had to sort of fit it in the side of the cupboard. And then, of course, I couldn't use the drain at the bottom and stuff like this when I do want to clean it. So every time I crack it, drops a bit of water on my carpet. So I'd installed it, and I was like, right, yeah, that's all right. Right. Babe, call for hot water. Turn the old high heating on. And then, boom, fires up. It's like, is that a drip? That's a drip. Where's my grips? I only went like that. Bang! 75 litres of now 30-degree hot water all over my ceiling.
Oh, really? What, because it weren't on properly?
Because it weren't on properly. So it's now under like the 2-bar, because it's some pressurised system with an expansion vessel. Now pressurised. And I just went to tighten up this 22mm compression. Bang! It slipped off. And there I were like, shit, that's hot. And I couldn't hold it, and I had to let go, and boom, it just dropped 75 litres all over my ceiling.
How'd you know it's 75 litres?
I don't.
It just sounded good. It was about 75 litres here. 75 litres. I worked it out. I measured all the pipe around the
So
house.
there's either a 50 litre and there's a 75 litre, I believe, and given it's the H10 Max and looking at
But
the
that's,
manual.
that's on your flame. That's not your flame.
That's your
return,
hot
is it?
water.
That's your hot water storage.
Right. So obviously, it just
whatever's
dropped the
in your
ring.
heating system.
It's just dropped the ring, yeah. Mate, that went on for ages because I didn't think about turning the water off, so it's trying to top up and keep going and all sorts. I went downstairs, got hold of a downlight, pulled the downlight out the ceiling, and bang, it just come through the ceiling, like pulling the plug on the
What
bath.
did your missus say?
don't touch.
Yeah, don't do any more
touch the
plumbing.
house again.
She was like, "What have you done?" And all of this. She was like, "Can you fix it?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I can fix it. Yeah."
And then she
Now I
said,
know what I've done wrong.
And then she said, "How do you know it's 75 litres of water?"
That's the thing. Like, as a plumber, you get yourself in situations you sort of know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Imagine doing it if you don't do that trade.
Yeah.
There's some things that you
You
shouldn't
just don't
touch.
yeah.
So yeah,
Even like sometimes I've got myself into some proper situations where I think, oh, this is not good. But you just got to keep calm.
yeah, just process of elimination.
Best
Take
you
it one step at a
can.
time.
Keep calm.
Yeah. Don't be a plumber.
Don't be
Yeah.
a plumber.
Don't try plumbing if you don't do it.
It's just I understand it from doing the kitchens and stuff. And like, if I get involved with putting the taps back in and the sink back in, I'll make sure there's like I use the little thumb term isolation valves instead of the screwdrivers,
Yeah.
just because it's quicker and easier. If the customer ever wanted to isolate it for whatever.
The old, I'd rather put lever valves on now rather than an old school ball fix. Those ball fixes, they frigging leak all the time through the screws, don't they? If they've not been turned off in a while, that little seal in there is going to just go, and it's like, I hate that.
And then I don't know whether I'm meant to do both because I'm not sure what the regs are, but I like to put 2 check valves on hot and cold. So if you've got a mixer tap, it's instant hot and instant cold.
Well,
So when you come to like mixer taps,
yeah,
you're meant to put check valves on like appliances so there's no backflow, is it?
yeah, you're meant to put it on so you don't get backflow through the main.
Right.
So if you did have a leak, it wouldn't
Go back into the mains.
Yeah, you wouldn't. If there was a leak in the road, you couldn't draw back through the house because if you had something in the house, like just say your water was contaminated in the house for whatever reason, then it wouldn't go back into the main in the road.
Right.
But you're meant to have like there's so many things out there, like people fitting things wrong all the time. Like a lot of people want douche washers now, don't they? You've seen people.
Do they? That's more of a high end
lot
stuff,
of people.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's no, it ain't.
What's the regs with them?
Douche washers meant to.
You definitely need a check valve on that.
Well, not just a check valve, it's meant to be a breaker as well. You're meant to have like an air brake.
I'll break between it, yeah.
So you're meant to have, some sort. And that's why as well you have like kitchen taps are meant to have a certain distance from the actual sink to the actual tap. It's all about distance and breaking it.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realise that. You need a gap between the kitchen tap to the actual sink itself.
Oh, really?
There's a certain reg.
Yeah, you
for
can't
that,
fit. You can't. Although I've done it for my mate's dad once because he bought the wrong taps, bought basin taps for his kitchen sink. I was like, "These are the wrong taps, mate. It's the wrong taps." Oh, that'll be all right. I went, "You won't get a kettle under them."
No.
No, that'll be all
I
right.
see, yeah.
He
So
went,
you
"That'll
get-
be all right. Just put them on." So I put them on for him. But you're meant to have a certain distance from the kitchen tap to the sink for them reasons.
Yeah.
But this is interesting, isn't it? Is there anything else we want to cover, Charlie? Anything else you want to talk about?
I can relate to loads of different things. So you guys are big in your paintballing. I play airsoft.
Airsoft. What's airsoft?
Airsoft is with the little pellets.
He said that word. We've got to bleep that out, haven't we? Can't be homophobic on here, mate. I mean, we would have it, but it's not really good for the channel.
No, yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, paintballing was fun.
Yeah. So, what is it? Airsoft?
Airsoft. I do that in like Necton out Norwich way.
Oh, Norwich.
Does it hurt?
Yeah. So it depends who gets you and what gets you and stuff like that. So like, am I right in thinking some paintball guns are HPA? Like you've got tanks on them and they're proper like.
Yeah.
Go for
I
it.
mean, some of them are into it. I'm not really into it, really.
So yeah, I've got some that are quite literally M4s.
What are the pellets made of?
Wood.
Plastic.
He's a chippy.
Plastic.
Makes his own.
They're
ball bearings.
maximum
They're plastic
pain.
and they're regulated by like grams weight. So you would set an electric airsoft gun up to like a certain spring power and weight, and then you'd be able to run a certain weight BB. Whereas with HPA, you obviously just turn the air up and down, so I can run anything I want. So I could slap you with like 0.5 gram BB or a 0.2 gram BB, which is real light.
What,
So,
you shooting people, are you, with these things?
yeah, you just go around like paintball, but obviously instead of the big paint mark on you, you have to go hit. But yeah, if I slap you with like 0.5 gram close range, it'll leave a mark.
So there must be a lot of cheating in that because there's enough cheating in paintball.
There's not a lot of cheating when you get hit by someone with like HBA.
Because it's clear that it got you.
They go to the floor.
Sod that.
Yeah, fuck.
Sounds a bit grueling.
Yeah, hey.
I've done with certain games, like say like a shed, but they've called it like a fuel dump or something. There's barrels around it, and I could see the.
Do you have to wear a helmet?
Yeah. You've got to have certain PPE, like eye protection is an absolute must. If you're under 18, you have to wear full face. I'm pretty brutal in the sense of like an Ant Middleton. I'm like, how lucky are you going to be to hit me in the head more than are you going to hit me in the head? Yeah. I just wear goggles in the summer, and then I cover up with like a beanie thing, and get in a ghillie suit and like snipe in the winter so that I can lay there and stay warm.
Yeah, nice. I love paintball. People have been going since then, but I haven't been able to go. But yeah, I'll definitely go before we do it next year.
What do you guys want to get into? Where do you want this podcast to go?
Viral.
Who knows, to be honest.
Don't know, yeah. We're just
just sort of going with it.
just riding the
wave, yeah.
the ripple at the moment, innit?
I've heard of like Fix Radio and
Oh yeah.
the two geezers. Who's the geezers? They know.
I don't think they're geezers.
The two geezers.
I'm trying to think of the name. It's,
Are they on Fixed Radio?
Yeah.
Well, in the mornings.
No. Like they do like all the stuff with Vinnie Jones. And they do pranks.
Brad and Sam.
That's it,
Ball
Brad and
builders, yeah. They've been on here.
Right. So they're not to do with Fixed. I'm
Yeah.
getting it all wrong.
They're Fixed
they are,
Radio.
yeah.
They're the
Oh,
breakfast
right.
show.
Right. Yeah.
So they've been on here. We've had them as guests on here. Great. They're really good guys.
But yeah, well, it sounds like you're doing well because you only started 2022, so it's been going a couple of years. So
Yeah.
Keep your hands off the plumbing,
keep your hands off the plumbing. Don't touch the gas.
Yeah.
and you'll
Don't
be
do
all,
any tiling. You'll be
all right. Just stick to getting splinters.
Yeah. Yeah, no, all the best with that.
Yeah.
And the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Thanks
cheers.
for
Find out a different area.
thanks for coming down
Yeah, thank you.
from all the way
Make
up.
sure
in-
you guys smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the little bell so you stay tuned for every upload.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and-
again, we remind you are CP Carpentry and Construction on YouTube
Just CP Carpentry 2022 on YouTube.
and on Instagram.
I'm now Charlie Petchey Carpentry. Thanks to Facebook Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, look
go-
into that. Try and
Yeah. Type in CP on the search on Instagram.
see what happens.
Don't search anything CP.
Yeah, Chigs, you might want to look into that.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Yeah. Thank you for coming down.
Cheers, guys.
Charlie.
Thanks for having
Ta,
me.
mate.
All right. This has been another episode of Off the Job Podcast.
Thanks for watching the show on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and all other streaming platforms.
If it's your first time watching or not, make sure to subscribe below and follow us on all the big social media stuff like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
For our overtime show on Monday, send us in your stories and comments for it to be read out on the show. Send it in via email, direct message through our social media accounts, or WhatsApp us on 07457 406 259.
And we'll see you on the next episode.